So morning from a fine, sunny, glorious morning on the South Downs in Hampshire. My name's Maddy Harland and I'm the editor of Permaculture magazine, and I want to make a little film today with Rosie all about our forest garden. Today I'm going to explain what forest gardening is. Forest gardening is based on the principles of a natural woodland or forest. You take 7 layers. You have the top layer, which is the high tree canopy, you have the smaller trees, then you have a herbaceous layer, you have ground cover and the rhizosphere, and then you have vertical climbers. And what we do with forest gardening is we take edible, useful and medicinal plants and we substitute them for what we would find in a natural woodland. And the idea behind this is once this garden is established, it is relatively low maintenance, it produces a huge variety of fruits, nuts, herbs and root crops and other plants, and it also creates the most amazing, diverse and abundant wildlife habitat. And in this age of concrete and development, that's as important to me as it is to take food to the kitchen. So to demonstrate, we have in the background a cherry tree, which we do prune, but we allow it to be the top canopy of the forest garden. Below the cherry is a Merton's pear, which is a particularly delicious pear, and in front of it is a brown turkey fruit tree and fig tree. And as you can see, the figlets are already growing, so we're keeping our fingers crossed that we don't have a very hard late frost, because it will mean that we have freestanding fig growing in the south of England without the need for a microclimate. And then to the right of the fig tree is a yucca, which sends up beautiful flowers which are actually edible, a traditional food in Spain. And then below these trees, in this part of the forest garden, are some herbs. There's a lot of marjoram that naturally grows on chalk, but we also grow things like oxeye daisy, which is just about to flower, and that creates a very insect happy environment that brings in all the beneficial insects that then might prey upon any inappropriate pests that might come in and disturb the fruit crops. So this forest garden is 100% organic, not troubled by codling moths, attracts loads of bees, butterflies and other insects, which then bring in birds and bats. This is another area of the forest garden. This is much more styled on a Martin Crawford from the Agroforestry Trust type forest garden. We've got mint in the foreground, still quite a lot of chalk down and flowers mixed in like bugle, and in the foreground we've also got oxeye daisy. But in this part of the forest garden we're growing a lot of soft fruit as part of the herbaceous layer, so we've got lots of different types of gooseberry, we've got currants, we're also experimenting with bushes like saskatoon, and this is a quince here, young quince. And underneath my feet, which you probably can't see, are wild strawberries, which grow abundantly, and they've got gorgeous, tasty little fruits. And we also have Nepalese raspberry, which establishes and then covers the ground really well. So the idea here is to minimise incoming weeds by growing ground cover. We also grow comfrey underneath the trees and bushes, which we cut at this time of the year to stop them choking, but also as you cut the comfrey it breaks down and it feeds the bushes, so it's a bit like having a fertiliser system that you grow on the spot, minimum transportation, minimum work, all you need is a hand scythe and you've done the job. We're experimenting with many unusual plants and trees. And this tree is a Siberian tea tree. It's a nitrogen fixer, it's a pea, and it actually grows little seeded pods, a bit like lentils. You could grow it in a chicken forage system and let the seeds drop, and then the chickens could feed under them. We grow it purely for it's such a beautiful little tree, and we grow it to fix nitrogen around the trees. We also grow bamboo, partly because I love it. It's a very useful plant for structures, as is obvious, things like bean poles and trellising for hops. But this is one of the finest statues that is edible. It's really sweet, and you break it off at ground level and peel it. Let me see if this one will go. Yep. Peel it, and you can put it in stir fries. You can steam it, and it's a really delicious sweet plant. You just want to take off the outer layers, and it tastes delicious. And actually, in the middle where it's sweetest, you could eat raw, but I prefer it a little bit steamed. And this is a Bardsey Island. It's a fantastic apple tree. It was found by a walker on Bardsey Island and then propagated by Ian Sturrock. It loves chalk, it likes marine winds, it is completely vigorous and healthy. It sets a beautiful golden apple with a red blush on it, and it's juicy and crispy. It's a perfect apple for us on chalk, fairly near the sea. And it's just an example of the incredible heritage and wealth that we have. And also that there are many other undiscovered varieties out there that we can grow in this country. Besides apples, pears, gages, plums, medlar, mulberry, all the English fruit that you can think of. We also experimenting with unusual exotics, and this is one of my absolute favourites. This is the Nepalese pepper tree. We keep it pruned so that it's easy to harvest. It makes little peppercorns that are really zingy. And again, it's a completely unfussy, hardy little tree that gives us a good crop every year.